y'all? It's your girl Roxie with Roxiie Says, and we're going to talk about it. Today, we are reviewing Traitors Season 3, Episode 8. Child, I cannot say that I did not see this coming. I can't say that I didn't. I loved this episode. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So let's get right into it. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you are made aware every time I post a new video. Y'all have been doing so well hitting like, hitting subscribe. Y'all doing the damn thing over here. So thank you so much. Let's get right into this review, okay? So we pick up right where we left off with the shortlisted faithfuls waiting to be Red Rummed face to face. And they're all hoping to meet Alan because obviously if they meet Alan, then they're safe. But you know that we're not going to find out until breakfast, all right? So Brittany and Danielle, they arrive first. And Danielle is extra giddy and excited because she says that she actually enjoyed doing that Red Rum face to face last night. It was nothing personal, but she loved it, all right? So Brittany is saying that she has Danielle's back despite their history, but she's fairly sure that Danielle is a faithful, and she decided that she's going to put her full trust in her. Child, like I said before, I know that this little sisterhood is going to end horribly, okay? So next we see Sierra, and she's acting like a scorned wife, and she says that she's pissed after realizing that B-Rob is the one who put her in that coffin in her YSL boots. How rude of her husband, okay? We then see Sam saying that it was really big of B-Rob to come in and get rid of a fellow traitor, okay? But he says that he doesn't think that the traitors are as smart as the faithfuls are giving them credit for. And in Sam's confessional, he says that through life, he has learned to observe and listen more than he speaks because he's learned to watch people's actions. That will tell you exactly what you need to know, and actions speak louder than words. So the majority of the people at the table think that Tom is the one who will be Red Rummed. And here I am thinking, oh, I hope not. Not me rooting for Tom. After last week's episode, I did not want to see him go. I would be lying if I said I want to see him go. Okay, I'm like, I think he deserves at least one more week after that epic takedown. And as soon as I said that, child, in walks Tom, okay? And he tells him that he absolutely is shocked that he's still there. He fully expected to go home. And he says that when he was in the church waiting and he turned around and saw Alan had on a little trendy outfit, okay? So he took note of what Alan was wearing. And then Sam said something that made me go, oh, snap. So Sam says, oh, since you saw Alan's outfit, that means that any one of the shortlisted people who aren't able to describe Alan's outfit is a traitor because they didn't see him. Child, I said, Sam, you a smart little cookie. So this made Danielle super duper nervous because Carolyn was on that list. And of course, she didn't see Alan because she is a traitor. So baby, when Carolyn comes in for breakfast, they're all like, oh, hey, Carolyn, tell us your story. Tell us what happened last night. How did it go? Give us the details, right? So Carolyn, she starts telling her story of how creepy it was. And she was like, oh, I didn't want to go. I was so scared. It was so scary. Baby, the more Carolyn spoke, the more nervous I got for her. And then Sierra asks her, so what was Alan wearing? And baby, the pure confusion that was all over Carolyn's face. So she started stuttering and stammering and not making any sense. Baby, when I tell you I screamed, I was like, oh my God, Carolyn, you about to mess this up. You about to mess this up because everyone is looking at each other like, girl, what's going on? Carolyn is like, well, you know, it was just like, the church, and it was like really scary. And what was he wearing? I mean, like he had on the thing with the thing. And then Tom jumps in and tries to help Carolyn out by saying what Alan was wearing. And baby, the way Sam was like, shh. Sam was like, no, don't say it. And Tom is like, huh? Like, what's wrong? What? I know what he's wearing. I'm just trying to tell you what he's wearing. And Sam was like, yeah, but and then Sam was like, all right, forget it. Go ahead. And just like that, Tom is right back on the idiot list. Tom, shut up. Read the room. You can't see what they were trying to do. But honestly, based on Carolyn's response alone, I'm sorry. That would have sealed the deal for me. And I'd actually think that Tom was her fellow traitor and he just tried to help her out, if I'm keeping it real. So Gabby says, all right, well, that was like a pass-fail test and Carolyn passed. How did she pass that, Gabby? Not in my eyes. No, she did not. So Dolores comes in and we don't see them ask her what Alan was wearing. Maybe it got edited out. I don't know. But now it's down to Chrishell and Dylan. And we learned that the person who got red rummed last night was none other than Chrishell. And child, when she asked the traitors why, Carolyn says it's because she was too faithful and she would have never been banished. Now, y'all already know that I'm not mad about Chrishell being red rum. She gets on my damn nerves. And I honestly would have been very pissed off if Dolores was the one to get red rummed after Chrishell was the one who forfeited the shield for both of them during that last challenge when she yanked her hand out of that box, okay? Another reason why I don't feel bad for Chrishell is because she played a huge part in getting Nikki banished just because she felt a change in Nikki's energy, okay? Bye, Chrishell. Bye. So they put her in a coffin, they lay her to rest, and in her confessional, she says that she wasn't surprised to see Danielle, but baby, she was shocked to see that Carolyn was a traitor, and she thinks that Carolyn is playing the best game. And I agree. I really do. But child, look at Tom. Look at Tom. He was so happy when he found out that Chrishell was red rummed. He was so happy. And he said that Chrishell never spoke up until it was clear that a vote was going in a particular direction. She just coasted the entire time. And Sierra jumps in and she says, well, you can say that about Brittany too. And baby, the way I would have turned to Sierra if I was Brittany and told her to shut the up. Girl, don't put my name in your mouth. Do not put my name in your mouth. Because why are you coming for me out of nowhere? Because, baby, you were in the coffin, Miss Sierra. And the way that you were trying to protect B-Rob for dear life in last week's roundtable, oh, we would have had that roundtable conversation right at the breakfast table if I was Brittany and Sierra came for me like that. Because, Sierra, you doing a whole lot. You're doing a whole lot. But Tom says, no. Brittany actually puts herself out there more. And I'm like, Brittany, are you not going to defend yourself? You're not going to say anything? Okay, I guess not. So Alan comes in and he gives his condolences and he tells them to be dolls and quickly get ready for their next challenge where they will need to get rich or die trying. I said, okay, look at Alan. He been listening to his 50 cent. I see you, Alan. So Danielle is saying that she feels like her and Carolyn are on better terms now that B-Rob is gone and they can put their trust issues in the past and run this castle together, all right? Meanwhile, Carolyn is saying, look, she's been through a lot in life and she's been lied to. She's been cheated on. She has been betrayed in the past. So she's going to take this with Danielle one day at a time, as she should. So Tom has his detective hat on and he's asking questions about theories that have come up in the past but got drowned out by more pressing theories. So he asks Carolyn about that argument that Danielle and Carolyn got into at the previous roundtable. Remember when they had the back and forth about Danielle telling Brittany that Carolyn had said her name? So Carolyn reiterates the story and she says that she doesn't want to throw Danielle under the bus, but she's not going to lie to Tom about it to protect Danielle because that would look suspicious, which is true. And Danielle brought this on herself, obviously, because she did not need to bring that lie to Brittany in the first place. And Dylan says, we're going to focus on that with Danielle because we don't have anything else much to work with right now. Meanwhile, we see Sam saying that they definitely need to revisit that coffin night. And now knowing who some of the traitors were, there is no way that they wouldn't have convinced a fellow traitor to get in one of those coffins. See who was in there? Jeremy, Nikki, and Sierra. Jeremy was red rummed, Nikki was banished, and was a faithful, so the only person left is who? Sierra. And Sam says that they need to get her ass up out of there tonight. Exactly what I said was going to happen in my next review. I told you, Sierra. I told you they was going to come for you next. And especially with the way that you were defending B-Rob at that round table, child, I knew it. And Brittany says last night at the round table, B-Rob and Sierra were the only two who voted against her. And Sierra was agreeing with B-Rob's weak-ass argument. That's what you get for acting like you were B-Rob's wife, Sierra. I told you that it was just a challenge. The wedding was not real, okay? Meanwhile, she's looking at Brittany and Danielle's alliance sideways, and Sierra feels that at least one of them is a traitor, and their alliance needs to be broken up. So it is challenge time, and this mission is about teamwork and communication. So they got to split up into two teams. 5 are going to go with Alan, and the other 5 will remain at the castle. But only the 5 players who go with Alan will have a chance to win a shield of protection. And I'm like, what's the catch? Because my assumption is if you have the opportunity to win a shield, some aspect of your mission is going to be a little bit harder, right? So Alan gives them a chance to choose their teams. And at first they try to give people who've never had a shield the opportunity to go on the team with Alan so that they can have one. But they ultimately decide that rock, paper, scissors is the best way to go. It seems like rock, paper, scissors is the way that they're going to decide a lot of things on this show, all right? And Danielle wants to be on the team with the shield so that she will be able to know who's protected, and she's hoping that Carolyn ends up on the opposite team so that she won't know who's protected, especially because she thinks that Carolyn is itching to Red Rum Brittany and Danielle wants to protect her. So Team Dolls consists of Tom, Ivar, Sierra, Danielle, and Brittany, and they are going with Alan. Team Castle consists of Sam, Dolores, Dylan, Carolyn, and Gabby, and they have zero chance of getting a shield, of course, all right? So Alan tells them all that when his dear, sweet Aunt Mildred passed away, she left him all of her dolls, and they were so many that he had to actually build them their own dollhouse in the middle of the woods. And the doll in his hand, as well as the other dolls, can sing nursery rhymes. But the thing is, they can only sing the nursery rhymes in reverse. So instead of singing London Bridge is falling, is that even the melody for London? How does London Bridge go? Oh my God, my childhood. I forgot London Bridge. So instead of them singing the nursery rhyme in a regular way, ring around the rosy, they're going to be singing it like blah, 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 blah. That's literally what they're going to hear, okay? So the doll team has to listen to the song coming out of the doll very carefully. Then they have to memorize it, call the castle, and sing the song back to Team Castle in reverse. So Team Castle has to also listen very carefully and then record themselves singing the song the same way that Team Doll sang it in reverse into a gramophone, okay, which will then allow them to play the song forward. And if they've memorized and recited the lines successfully, they will hear what the nursery rhyme should really sound like. And if they name the nursery rhyme correctly, they can bank $5,000. There are 4 dolls for a total of $20,000 that can potentially be added to the prize pot. I love this challenge. I love this challenge. It's like an evil, creepy game of telephone. And literally, I am singing, songwriting, memorizing notes and words and sounds for clients on the daily. So I'm like, oh, I would be excellent at this game. If I do say so myself, honestly, truly, I would be. I must say so, okay? So the doll team, they go to the big dollhouse with Alan, and he warns them that there are a couple of decoy dolls there to distract them. And I said, now what? You didn't say that in the beginning. Okay, Alan? Also, they only have 30 minutes and only one doll has the clue where the one shield is. I'm like, child, there's only one shield, Alan? All right, so he calls the castle team and he asks them if they're ready to begin, and yes, they are. So, child, they enter the dollhouse and they start looking around, okay? These dolls are creepy. These dolls are so creepy, and they're spraying people in the face. They spraying people in the butt, okay? No one really cares about finding the doll with the reverse nursery rhyme at first. They're all pretending to look for it, but what they're really looking for is that one shield, all right? So then we see Sierra. She picks up a doll, and the doll says that the shield is in her friend Bear. And Sierra really says it out loud, like, oh, the shield is in the bear. Child, if I had heard that doll and no one else heard that doll give that clue, I wouldn't have said shit. I wouldn't have said a damn thing, but okay. Meanwhile, after 15 minutes, the castle team is just standing by the phone, waiting and waiting. They haven't received the call yet. And Tom is the only one who has potentially found a doll and is trying to learn the song because he feels like he's the only person who is musically inclined in the entire castle. And I'm like, look at Tom being so sweet. This is a big difference from the Tom. Remember when they had that challenge where they had to run up the hill with those statue pieces and Tom put his head on the statue that he didn't build? Look at him taking one for the team in this challenge. Love to see it, Tom. You're really redeeming yourself, all right? So, child, we finally see Tom. He runs to the phone and he sings the song to the castle team, and it is absolutely hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. He's like, it's horrible. And Alan is in the back cracking up, and castle team is listening like, what is he saying? what is he saying? But eventually they memorize it and they run to the gramophone all singing it so that they don't forget the melody. So when they finally get to it, Dylan sings it into the machine, and his melody is pretty close to what Tom sang for him. So when they played it back on the machine, I just knew that they would get it immediately. But just like the Castle team, when I heard it back, I was like, what? I was like, what? So that one was a dud because it really sounded the same in reverse. And they only have 10 minutes left at this point. So Tom finds another doll, calls the castle back, and this time, instead of just making sure he has the melody correct, he's also trying to make sure that he sings the correct words. Even though they're not words, he's trying to at least make sure he gets the correct syllables, right? So the castle team memorize it, they sing it in the gramophone, they play it back, and as soon as it played, I was yelling, row, row, row your boat! I was so excited, child. I scared my dogs. They jumped up. That's how excited I was, okay? And the castle team got it immediately. They knew exactly what song it was. They recited it back to Tom. Tom told the team. So what they had to do was quickly grab the doll, sit it in the chair, and tell Alan the doll's name as well as the nursery rhyme. And they were correct, and they won the first $5,000. But they only had 5 minutes left at this point in the game, and they still had, 4 more dolls to get? But they do eventually get Do You Know the Muffin Man, 3 Blind Mice, and in the midst of all of this commotion, Sierra happens to just look down at the ground and she sees a bear covered in leaves. So she picks it up and she pulls the shield out right in front of everybody and she just puts it in her pocket like, damn, I ain't even see that. How did I see that? Okay. The way that I would have tried to secretly grab that shield if no one else saw, but all right, see, Sierra, she's just out there with it. And of course, Danielle is pissed. And with only 20 seconds left, they guess the last song, which is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and they win the full $20,000. And Alan tells the castle team that one shield was found, but of course, the doll team is not going to tell the castle team who has the shield, okay? So of course, Sierra is so happy that she has the shield because she feels like Danielle and Brittany are out to get her, and she thinks that Brittany is a traitor because Brittany has spoken up the least and has been the most quiet. That's the same dumb argument that y'all made when y'all got Nikki out of here. It was stupid. Didn't Nikki tell y'all that everyone doesn't operate the same? Y'all didn't learn any lessons from that? Meanwhile, Ivar is telling Danielle that the plan is for everyone to go for Sierra at tonight's roundtable, and Danielle is perfectly fine with that because anything to take any focus off of the traitors is a great plan in her eyes. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Sam is still making his case for Sierra, and he says that Bob the Drag Queen and B-Rob are such strong players that they were probably able to convince Sierra to get into the coffin. Now, this is a theory that does make a whole lot of sense and is definitely believable, but Gabby wants to keep the focus on Danielle and Brittany, and Carolyn is in the middle of this conversation, and I'm waiting to see which train she's gonna pile on, the Sierra train or the Danielle and Brittany train. And in her confessional, Carolyn says that she wants Brittany gone because her and Danielle have gotten too close, and if she's banished, Danielle will be more loyal to her. Meanwhile, Dylan is also focused on Brittany because he said that Derek mentioned Brittany's name before leaving, and Derek was also correct about B-Rob being a traitor, okay? So next we see Carolyn, and she's taking Sierra aside just to sprinkle a little bit more water on that Danielle and Brittany seed, okay? And Sierra says that the theatrics and all the crying and shaking that they do, it's a bit much, and the Big Brother alliance is starting to annoy her. But in her confessional, she also mentions that in regards to the coffin theory, before Jeremy, a fellow Big Brother, was Red Rummed, he was telling people that he thought that Danielle was one of the traitors, which is true. Sierra, hold on to that. You need to be running around spreading that too, okay, to save your own ass. But at the same time, Sierra, if you're able to pick up on that, you should have enough foresight to know that you are really on the chopping block, okay? I feel like she was a little bit too chill for too long, okay? Because you were the third person in the coffin, and the other 2 people who were in the coffins are both gone, especially since you had to fight for your life at like 2 of the past roundtables already. I just felt like she should have been doing a bit more before tonight's roundtable. And of course, Brittany and Danielle are also still plotting on Sierra. So we see Sam, Ivar, and Dolores. They're discussing their Sierra theory, and they all pretty much decide that they are gonna vote for her tonight unless she makes a good argument during the roundtable. And baby, right when they say that, in walks Sierra. in walks Sierra and they ask her, so what's your theory? What you got on your mind, okay? And she does make the case for Danielle, and she says that Jeremy was red rummed right after he said her name, which also makes sense. But for the people who already believe that Sierra is a traitor who put herself in the coffin, trying to put it on Danielle can actually make her look like more of a traitor, okay? And I don't think that Sierra made her case well enough, because Dolores is side-eyeing her and she's like, oh, so that's what you're gonna do? You're gonna try to put it on Danielle and Brittany now? Okay, so the fact that Dolores even worded it like that, to me, it makes me believe that Dolores didn't believe a damn thing that Sierra was saying anyway. And she's still gonna vote for Sierra at tonight's roundtable. But in Sierra's confessional, she claims that she knows everyone thinks that she's a traitor and she doesn't care because she never backs down from a challenge. Okay, girl. So going into the round table, it's really between Sierra, Brittany, and Danielle. And Carolyn is nervous for Danielle because she has a lot of heat on her. And if she defends Danielle at the round table tonight, she'll essentially be putting her own ass out there, okay? So, child, it is round table time. And Alan lets them know that this time around, it is imperative that they root out the traitors, because those that make it to the final will no longer have to reveal their identity of traitor or faithful as they're banished, and they'll just have to rely solely on their instincts to decide who was a traitor or not. So, child, Alan gives them the floor, and Sierra starts because she says that she is well aware that the coffin theory is alive again, but she says there were no traitors in the coffin that night, not one. Nikki and Jeremy were faithfuls, and gosh darn it, so am I. And I'm like, okay, girl, that's it? Do you have any more to your argument? No, that's it. And before she even finished her sentence, Ivar was like, well, it's not just the coffin. It's not just the coffin. We believe that the remaining traitors are also likely to be women. And child, Tom jumps in and he's like, yeah, because historically girls are better cheaters than guys. And the entire table was like, excuse me, sir, what did you just say? What did you, I know you didn't just say what I think that you just said. And he's like, what? I said traitors. And everyone was like, no, you said cheaters, you fool. And he was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. That's not what I meant. I meant to say traitors, not cheaters. The way that I was cracking up. Why the whole table jump time like that? They were about to whoop his behind at that table. And he says, no, look. I am well aware that guys are far more likely to cheat than women. And they're like, yeah, we bet you are well aware of that, Tom. You ain't have to tell us. We already know, okay? So they get back on focus. And Sam says that if they don't banish Sierra tonight, that coffin theory will always be out there. And they will never know until there's some evidence that goes against Sierra being a traitor. And there is none. And I agree, okay? But all she says is, well, I'm a faithful, so... And I'm like, Sierra, we need something else. We need something more, okay? Then Brittany brings up how Sierra was the only person to vote for her along with B-Rob. But Sierra says that had nothing to do with B-Rob, and she only voted for Brittany because Brittany doesn't have much of a voice, and the only one who could be a traitor is her. And I'm like, Sierra, what? That is the same dumb argument that B-Rob made at last week's roundtable, sis. That's the same argument. But Sierra does get a couple of heads nodding when she mentions B-Rob and Bob the Drag Queen's big personalities, all right? So she says it would only make sense for the other traitor or traitors to be quieter people. But Brittany says that her behavior is actually more faithful-like because she's actually worried about getting Red Rum. So she's not going to be as ostentatious as B-Rob and Bob the Drag Queen were. Good point, Brittany, all right? So since Sierra lost that argument with Brittany, she then turns her focus to Danielle. And she says the fact that Jeremy was Red Rummed the night that he said Danielle's name. So child, now it's time for Danielle to defend herself. And she says that when Jeremy first said her name, she was shocked. She was shocked. And she doesn't even understand why he said it, but she is a faithful. And then she said, I sat here and I voted for Boston Rob twice, okay? I said, come on, Danielle. Come with the facts. That's a good argument. That's a good point. It's damn sure better than what Sierra got, okay? But Danielle, she wasn't done yet, because then she says, look at who else was taken out of this game. They were the people that I was closest to. Ion, Derek, Bob H. There's no reason why I would Red Rum those people. And that's all I got to say. And Danielle drops the mic with that one. Now, it is possible for someone to think, well, that's what a traitor would do, right? She would Red Rum the people who are closest to her to throw everyone off of her scent. But right now, the faithfuls, they have absolutely nothing to go with. So they're just grasping at straws at this point. And if we put Sierra's argument, which is I'm a faithful, versus what Danielle just laid out, I'm voting for Sierra too. I'm voting for Sierra too because she literally has nothing. Now, I would be wrong. I would be wrong, but that's who I would be voting for based on this argument. Now, honestly, who I would really be voting for is Carolyn. That's who I would really be voting for based on how she answered that question regarding Alan's outfit at the breakfast table. But since no one else is voting for Carolyn, I wouldn't be the only one, okay? But if it was between Danielle and Sierra, I would be strong and wrong, and I would be voting for Sierra based on the arguments that I just heard. So after Danielle makes her case, they jump right back on Sierra. And Tom says that all of the cursing that she does and F you traitors and this, that, and the third, it's very performative. And Sam says that it was premeditated, but Sierra says, look, that's just my personality. And she says that she would rather be Red Rummed as an honest and outspoken faithful than to go down without a fight. But that ain't cut it because Ivar says, look, we know that Bob the Drag Queen and B-Rob were in fact traitors. And I think that they have the personalities that are strong enough to convince your weak ass to get in that coffin. Now, he didn't call her weak, but that's pretty much what he was saying, okay? He says that he knows that B-Rob nor Bob the Drag Queen would ever get in a coffin. But Sierra says, listen, that is BS because no one would have been able to convince me to do no shit like that, okay? And she tells Ivar to get the fuck out of here. I was like, oh my God, poor Ivar. Poor Ivar. But Sierra, she got mad. She was offended. She's like, I'm my own person. Like, what is he talking about? And she said, if y'all choose to go with this coffin theory and get me out of here, it's not going to get you anywhere because I'm going to go stand up there and tell y'all that I'm a faithful. And y'all going to be like, damn, we should have listened to her. We should have believed her. And even though she ain't saying anything really different, this was the most convincing thing that Sierra said at this roundtable, in my opinion. And she had a lot of conviction when she said it, okay? And Gabby and Dolores, they were smiling and nodding like they were proud of her. You could see it. And I was actually proud of her in this moment as well. So it's voting time. And Dylan votes for Sierra because he wants to close out the only lingering theory that they still have. Carolyn votes for Sierra in favor of closing the coffin theory as well. Sam and Ivar vote for Sierra for the same reason. Dolores votes for Sierra and she says that her vote wouldn't have saved Sierra anyway. So now with 5 votes, the deciding vote to banish Sierra lies with Danielle. And child, Danielle votes for Sierra too. And so does Gabby. And so does Tom. And so does Brittany. And Sierra is pissed that her fight or flight mode made this happen and made people look at her as if she was a traitor. But she says that she gets it from her mom, who is the strongest woman she knows, and she's always stuck with her guns. And that's how she is also, because her mom didn't raise no weak bitch, okay? And I definitely feel that, Sierra, but it didn't work here, and you are now banished. But it's not only because you were cursing, Sierra. Like Ivar said, there were a bunch of other little things, and ultimately they just can't let that coffin theory go, and unfortunately she is a casualty of that, okay? So child, everyone and their mama voted for Sierra. Everyone voted for Sierra except for Sierra, obviously, who voted for Brittany. So as usual, I cannot wait for the circle of truth time, okay? So Sierra gets up there and she says, look, I don't do speeches, but I'll never go down without a fight or succumb to anyone, even the traitors, because I am a faithful baby. Baby, I think I laughed for a good 3 minutes straight because everyone was so shocked. Everyone's jaw was on the floor, as they should be. She told y'all that's what was going to happen. And Sam was like, damn, we really messed up with that one. They all feel absolutely horrible and dumb because they voted for her unanimously. And Alan says, look, if we shed any more innocent blood, any more innocent faithful blood, we're going to have to bring a damn mop for the next round table. Okay, Alan be making these people feel like pure shit, all right? So, of course, it's a quiet walk back, and now everyone is mad at themselves, and we see Tom, Dylan, and Sam, and they're having a conversation, and Sam is saying that he didn't really think that Sierra was a traitor, and I'm like, Sam, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Don't backtrack now. Stand in your shit, okay? And Dylan says that a lot of people's reasoning at the round table was pretty much, oh, I just have to do it. But none of them actually have to vote for a certain someone for whatever reason, okay? And Tom is like, yeah, but wouldn't you still be wondering if it was her if we didn't banish her? And Dylan is like, yeah, you're right about that. But in Dylan's confessional, he's really upset about it. And he says that this is the hardest banishment that he's ever done. He said he went with the popular vote and now he feels like shit about it. So next we see Tom, Gabby, and Carolyn, and they're discussing who has the shield. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I forgot that Sierra had the shield. I totally forgot about that. So they ask Tom, who has it? And he tells them, look, I'm not saying anything. But when Carolyn asks him, if the shield just walked out of the door with Sierra, Tom says no. And they say that they wouldn't have given her a shield anyway because she was in the hot seat and it would have been a waste of a shield. But baby, the way that Carolyn is looking at Tom, the way that Carolyn is in Tom's face, I was scared. I was like, damn, Carolyn, you giving me the chill, sis. But at least Tom is holding down his Dollhouse crew. So next we see Dylan, Ivar, and Sam. They meet in the secret bookcase room to discuss their theories about who has the shield and who's a traitor. So Dylan says they already have 2 male traitors. So the odds are that the other 2 traitors are female. So that means one of us guys are going to be gone tomorrow. There goes that Dylan. He got his thinking cap back on, okay? Meanwhile, Danielle and Carolyn, they're having a conversation right outside of the bookcase room. And as they giggle, the men inside the bookcase room can hear them. And of course, Danielle and Carolyn don't know that they're in there having their own secret meeting. So Dylan comes out and he sits with the ladies and they immediately try to spin it on him. And they're like, who else is in there with you? And he says, oh, Ivar and Sam. And they're like, that's a little sus. That's a little suspicious, okay? And I think that Dylan seeing that Danielle and Carolyn are the only 2 women and they're together having a conversation, that looks really suspicious to him, okay? But he's still suspicious of Brittany and Gabby as well. And in his confessional, he says that he always trusted Danielle, but now he's thinking that all of this shaking she does is just an act, and now he's suspicious of her too. So child, we learned that tonight the traitors have a choice. They can Red Rum as usual, or they can recruit another traitor to join them. And this made my virgin traitor watcher ears very excited. Very excited. I was like, ooh, I like that idea, right? So Carolyn and Danielle, they both know that the guys feel like the remaining 2 traitors are women. So are they going to Red Rum someone who's causing too much trouble, or are they going to recruit someone else? All right. So Danielle tells Carolyn that Sierra had the shield, but remember, Tom lied to Carolyn earlier and said that Sierra didn't have the shield. And Carolyn already doesn't trust Danielle, so she's a little skeptical of what Danielle is telling her. And Danielle is like, I'm telling you, Sierra had the shield. And Carolyn is like, okay. So as they're having their back and forth, Alan walks in and he tells them about the extra option for tonight. If they are able to seduce someone into becoming a traitor and they accept, that person will join them in the turret tonight. But they will also be forfeiting tonight's Red Rum. So Alan leaves and he allows them to discuss. So Danielle wants seduction. She wants seduction. She wants another traitor in here. And Carolyn just wants the Red Rum. Now, if you remember, Danielle been wanting to recruit another traitor when she was trying to get rid of B-Rob, okay? But B-Rob is gone and she knows that she has heat on her back. On the other hand, Carolyn has no heat on her back. So Carolyn, she like, we don't need anyone else. We good just like this, okay? She can play the game and have Danielle banished at the next round table, and she can be the only traitor in this house. So I understand why they each want what they want, but when Carolyn says that she just wants to Red Rum, Danielle was like, really? What? We're about to be found out. We need more people on our team. And Carolyn says, no, we don't. We can barely stay on the same page without coming for each other. And you want to add another person? Girl, no. But Danielle makes the case of them being on the short list for banishment because these guys are going to just keep putting women on the chopping block. So why not add a female traitor so she can get called out during the banishment, okay? Because Danielle feels like if one female traitor is banished during the next round table, that'll calm the men down a little bit and that will take some of the heat off of them. Great point, Danielle. I see that Big Brother degree is working in this episode, okay? And Carolyn is now open to the idea. So only Dolores, Gabby, and Brittany are left, and Carolyn does not think that Dolores would ever accept a traitor invitation. So now it's down to Brittany and Gabby. And of course, Carolyn does not want Brittany. Carolyn does not want Brittany, but Danielle does. Carolyn is like, girl, we not about to bring your little bestie in here so that y'all can team up on me and get me out of here. No. I would be a complete idiot to even allow that. And Danielle is like, that is not my bestie. That's not my bestie. My goal is to leave here together with you. And Carolyn is like, no. Danielle is still pleading, and she's saying that this will be a sisterhood of 3 female gamers and they can make history. But baby Carolyn, she still ain't trying to hear it, all right? But Danielle is still pleading. She's still trying. And when she tells Carolyn, look, girl, we can split the money, Carolyn is like, oh, girl. Carolyn is like, oh, girl, gone, okay? And that is where the episode ends. I do think that the only way that Carolyn should allow Brittany is for the sole purpose of Brittany being the sacrificial lamb, okay? But of course, once Brittany is in, there's no guarantee that Danielle and Brittany won't team up on her. And for that reason, if I was Carolyn, I would make Gabby the sacrificial lamb. Get in Dylan's ear, because remember, Dylan has been thinking that Gabby is a traitor. And he's going to be very determined to right his wrong of Sierra's banishment, right? Carolyn and Danielle, they've already seen Dylan be the only one to vote for Gabby like twice. Hello? And I think that everyone is so thirsty for traitor blood, Dylan won't even have to do much to convince them to banish Gabby if they make Gabby a traitor, right? The men will be happy because they finally caught a female traitor. And then Danielle and Carolyn, they can breathe a little easier for the next week. So I think that that is who they should pick. I think that they should pick Gabby to be the traitor. But let me know what you think. Let me know all of your thoughts, all of your predictions below. I love chatting with y'all about it in the comments. I knew they were gonna get Sierra's ass up out of here. I knew they were. Let me know all of your thoughts and predictions. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell because we are reviewing Ready to Love, Married at First Sight, and Love is Blind. Okay, so make sure you keep an eye out, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about